girls on in that area. With 2 feet shut down the arena. You know one put us for corner. I'm in a danger, making the trash be mental. My boss babe to pass your level. We too sweet past sugar level. The party don't start till me and my girl show for the center. Me call man down. Turn it up.
You must bring the heat, don't wanna know the beats now.
Hurry up.
You must follow my lead now.
We go higher to the sky. We no retire. We don't get tired. Drop it, get your life, calculate your price. To be left but you ain't got nothing on me. Drop it, get your life, calculate your price. To be left but you ain't got nothing on me. My girl gang, them my girl gang. Yeah, we run down them my girl gang. Where your girl gang.
Ah yeah.
My girl gang. Them my girl gang. Yeah, we run down them my girl gang. Where your girl gang.
Yeah.
Something where you there, but I call me something. Carry the go, your love they go. Did you turn off the stereo? One time you see us for the corner. Sit down, we feet dance for the center. Every time we walk out, got that lights going by. Turn it up.
You must bring the heat, don't wanna know the beats now.
Hurry up.
You must follow my lead now.
Drop it, get your life, calculate your price. To be left but you ain't got nothing on me. Drop it, get your life, calculate your price. To be left but you ain't got nothing on me. My girl gang. Them my girl gang. Yeah, we run down them my girl gang. Where your girl gang.
Ah yeah.
My girl gang. Them my girl gang. Yeah, we run down them my girl gang. Where your girl gang.
Yeah.
Girl gang, them my girl gang. Yeah, we went down them my girl gang. Where your girl gang.
Ah yeah.
My girl gang. Them my girl gang. Yeah, we went down them my girl gang. Where your girl gang.
Yeah.
All past, don't wanna last. In fact, your presence a present that's my gift wrap. All my gift wrap. Body hourglass, my skin color sexy. Wonder where your ass is. Penny for your thoughts, give a top to the classes. Private lessons, a little fire and compassion. Just you're coming, baby. Under, baby, love it, baby. 100 times, 100, baby. Put it in a bag, no Santa. Shake it like a red nose, ain't no prancer. Do it. Fast, faster. Do it. Fast, faster. Break it, give up. Put it on center. Break it, give up. Bring it. You a little messy. You a little naughty. Bless you, blessing me. You are. Break it, give up. Do a little quicker. Give up. Give up. You a little nasty. You a little naughty. Your soul, body, mind, gimme what's yours, keep mine, get it, shawty. You know you want me, don't you lie, you know you want me. Body on goddess, skin color, yes please, think outside the box for the box. You always give me what I want, I'ma roll it up cause I'm blunt, how you want, just you're coming, baby. Under, baby, love 100 times 100, baby. Put it in a bag, no Santa. Shake it like a red nose, ain't no prancer. Do it, do it, do it. Fast, faster. Do it, do it, do it. Fast, faster. A great gift giver, put it on center. A great gift giver. Bring it, bring it, bring it. You a little nasty, you a little naughty. Kiss you, listen me. You are a great gift giver. Do it a little quicker. Gift giver, gift giver. You a little nasty, you a little naughty. Great gift giver, gift giver. Don't you see I want it, baby? Don't you see I need it, need it? Don't you keep me waiting, baby? Don't you see I'm waiting, boy? I know you see it, but help me for the one time, one time. Bring it, bring it, bring it. You a little nasty, you a little naughty. Bless you, blessing me. You are a great gift giver. You a little quicker. Gift giver, gift giver. You a little nasty, you a little naughty. Great gift giver, gift giver. Great gift giver. Put it on center. A great gift giver. Bring it, bring it, bring it. You a little nasty, you a little naughty. Bless you, blessing me. You are a great gift giver. Do a little quicker. Gift giver, gift giver. You a little nasty, you a little naughty. Great gift giver, gift giver. I'm the illest. Rolling up, you already did it. With the subs up, you better listen. Coming up, but ain't no competition. Nah, I ain't tripping. All the boys gotta move into my flow. Now the girls gotta dripping, dropping low. Going through the most, cause they ain't afraid to grow. Coast to the coast, I'ma hit your radio. Dreaming about it every day. I know that now I'm finally on my way. I know that I've been on my gun, I've been telling myself to do it for me, mom, and for nobody else. I'm looking, I'm liking what I see. Hit different, hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different, hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life hit different, hit different. With the pain, with the bang, ready, hit different. Ooh, over there, who's the hot one with the long hair? Looky, looky, ooh, that's me. Mirror, mirror, showing them a bad bitch. And I don't see the girl that I felt, so down and out on the self. A total mind and body globe, down in every cell. Living it up, ooh. And I'ma go and kill it, cause this is what I do. Dreaming about it every day. I know that now I'm finally on my way. I know that I've been on my gun, I've been telling myself to do it for me, mom, and for nobody else. I'm looking, I'm liking what I see. Hit different, hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different, hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life hit different, hit different. With the bang, with the bang, with the bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 bang, 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 bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Boom, 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 bang, 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 bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Coming in hot, I'ma get in it. Got you feeling that bass when I'm hitting it. With the bang, 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 bang. Hit different, hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different, hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life hit different, hit different. With the bang, with the bang, ready, hit different.
Welcome back to the channel. It's Mystic Rain, the Mystic Maven. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? It's been a minute. Forgive me. I'll explain. Come on in. Come on in. I don't know how many of you guys I'm going to get today on account of the fact that YouTube hates a hiatus. And then they let you know that you were gone a little bit too long. So I don't know. I don't know what the algorithm is going to do. I don't know if you're going to be notified. I don't know if we're going to be in here all by my big bad self. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be talking to people or, you know, if I'm going to be talking to myself, which would be fine because I do that anyway. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Hi, Ann. But Ann, I don't even know if you're in here anymore. Let me know if you're still in here because you commented like at the beginning in the intro, so I don't know. I don't know if you're still here. Natty Bay, how are you doing? I missed you guys too. I missed you, Pixie. Yeah, how you doing? How you doing? Michelle, Judy. So you guys are getting the notifications. Material Indigo. Oh, wait, you didn't mean to sign in with this account? Well, you know what? It's fine. You're here now. Oh, you're Anne. Hi, Anne. Oh, you guys, I missed you guys. I missed you guys a lot. I have a lot of explaining to do. I promise you I have a good excuse. I really do. I promise you I have a good excuse. But salutations. Salutations, everybody. How are things going? How is the summer going for you guys? Is it all right? It's been all right for me, but it's been a whirlwind. I've had a lot of things that have been going on. Oh, by the way, can someone timestamp this after the music part? Can someone the timestamp like when it actually starts, just for everybody else that's coming in, so they know where they're coming in? Did you guys like the new intro? I switched up the music. I feel like I'm probably gonna do that like every 6 months, do like a refresh kind of thing, you know? Today's music, the theme was vibes. That was a theme today. Usually it's like some sort of like spiritual baddie kind of song. Today it was just vibes. That's what it was today. I discovered your channel earlier this year and have been watching all of your live vids. Really? Oh, welcome. I love that. I love that. Keep Hit Different though. Fair. I'll keep it. I like Hit Different. I do. I like Hit Different. And just so you guys know, I always put it at the end of the list because Hit Different comes on before I come on. And so it's a way of letting you guys know that, okay, she's about to come on like after the intro. The intro part is just to give time for you guys to see the notification and for me to fix a mic that stopped working, right? That's like the buffer zone. But once you hit here, like Hit Different, that just means that I'm about to come on. You love the music on here? It's turning you, oh, you didn't know. I'm glad that I was able to turn you on a liar. It's such a good song. I like that song. It's also like your song too, is it? It's Hot 105. I love that. I love that. That actually makes me really excited. Greetings, congrats on your venture as a publisher. We're gonna get into that. I'm gonna like drop everything. Oh my God, there's so much. Oh, there's so much that's happened. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Where was I? Well, I was resting. Why was I resting? Right? I've shared with you guys, some of you guys here are new, so we're gonna catch you up, right? But this past year, I was dealing with a lot of health issues and like health issues to the point where she was like this close to like losing her life. Like last year, I almost died kind of thing, right? And so anyway, it culminated into me needing to get surgery. And so that is a lot of the reason why I haven't been on, because I went in for surgery and then I had to then recover, right? And go through my recovery period, which by the way, I'm actually still in recovery technically. Still healing, still cannot lift things that weighs more than 10 pounds, still not cleared to go to the gym, things like that, right? But I had surgery and so I was resting. And then because of that, I was like, I'm prioritizing self. Everything needs to stop. And I stopped everything abruptly. And the reason why I did that abruptly was because I just needed to. I even took a really hefty leave off from work. I needed to just like focus on myself. I was like, I'm no good to anybody if I'm not here, right? Like if I'm not here, I can't do anything. And so that was the number one priority. It was health and getting myself back together. Good news is I do feel like I'm on the up and up. After having surgery, I feel a lot better, like a lot better. Like when I tell you, it was like an immediate shift. When I came out of all those drugs and I went to my post-op appointment and I saw the surgeon, I was like, Doc, I don't know what you did, but you did your thing. And like my body is in the process of like reorganizing itself and going back to normal. But that was the reason for like the abrupt stop and everything. I just needed to focus on myself and I needed to like prioritize. I have this tendency where I'm always overstretched, which is my fault, always. And I always got a million and one things going on. And then I always think everyone needs me at all times. I have this problem too. And so I was like, I need me. And that comes first. And so I put myself first, and I took a lot of time off in order to do what I needed to do in order to heal. Hugs if you want them. I always love a hug. And surgery, it is intense, and it was intense, and I did get through it. And thank you. Love, love, love how you show up and make things happen. Super excited to hear the tea. I've got so much tea. And I see more vibrant. I feel more vibrant, you know? It's really one of those things, like, there's no way to really explain it other than the fact that, like, I don't think that there was an alternative. It was either have surgery or not be here. And, like, it really felt like there were many moments, especially within this last year, where I felt my life force energy just kind of draining out. And I needed to be patched up. I needed care. That was like going through this experience was the first time I think in my life where I relied on other people for help. It's always me being like being Superwoman, being the one in charge, solving everyone's problems, you know, and it's not anyone else's fault. The reason, I mean, look, I put myself in those positions. Sometimes I like to be in those positions, but when you do that, you fall into this habit and this pattern where you start to neglect yourself and you're not taking care of yourself. And the problem is, a lot of the times you don't even realize it. You're like on the go, go, go. You're moving, right? Like you've got a schedule, you've got a checklist and to-dos, and like you're not paying attention to your body. And it's like a thing where your body may say something, but you go, I'll deal with that later, right? I don't have time to deal with it now. I got too many things that's going on right now. I'll deal with that later. And then I'm going to deal with that later. I reached a like point of no return where my body was like, you're going to deal with this now. And I no longer had the choice to deal with it later. I had to deal with it now. And so anyway, having just had to deal with it. And that's kind of like, that's just really what it was. But within that journey, learned how to allow other people to take care of me because I couldn't do it myself, right? Like learning how to let other people see about me, learning how to let other people ask me if I was okay, learning how to let other people want to be there for me, learning how to let other people want to love me, want to take like care about me, you know? I spent so much time being like, I'm fine, you know? But then I had to reach a point where I was like, I'm not fine. And I don't know how to do any of this. And I need help and I need advice. And yeah, so it was a huge like learning lesson. It was very like spiritually intense. It made me re-examine what I thought about like life and death. It made me re-examine like whether or not I wanted to be here, you know, because in the past I've dealt with a lot of like suicide ideation. And even at one point in my life, it had progressed beyond ideation where I was in full-blown panic, like planning mode. And going through this whole experience, Spirit was like, do you mean that thing you said? You said you didn't want to be here. Do you mean that? Like, do you still mean that? You know? And then it was like being presented with an off-ramp and then realizing, holy shit, I don't mean that. At least not anymore. I don't mean that. And then what am I willing to do about that in order to get off this off ramp that I had tried to get on for so long? It was very spiritual, and I just needed time to like get it and to like understand it, to admit it to myself. And then like come to terms with it, to grieve pieces of myself. It was a very sort of spiritually enlightened experience. And then it was also very scary. Surgery can be very scary, you know, particularly when it's not like cosmetic, you know, and it's not something you want to do, but you're like, oh, I don't have any other options. I don't know what else to do, you know, and just going through that process. I remember by the time I had got to the hospital, at that point, I mentally was in a much better space, right? So I mentally got better before I physically got better, because I realized at some point that like, if your mental state is just shit, it's not easy to get better. You know what I mean? You get better faster when you fix this first. And when I made the decision of like, wait, no, I actually do want to be here. I have so many things that I want to do. I'm nowhere near being done. It just clicked. And I was like, okay, give me the list. What do we got to do? And I remember like saying to Spirit, like, tell me what needs to be done, and we're doing it. But we're getting off this fucking off ramp kind of thing, right? And so yeah, it was a lot. But by the time I got to the surgery by the time I reached the OR, I was in much better spirits. And I remember just saying to them, "Can I have some anxiety meds?" I remember saying that, like, like the anesthesiologist came in to speak to me, and they were like, "All right, how are you doing?" And I was like, anxious, like a little anxious. And I was like, "Can I have some drugs? Like, I need you to start loading me up." Like, I was putting my ass out. Now, don't, because they were like, "No, we got to get you to the OR. We got to get you on the table." And I was like, y'all can't put me out first, do all that shit yourself, right? Yeah. And then they put my ass out, you know what I mean? And then they woke my ass back up, you know? And then I left the hospital with some real nice drugs and did one of these motions on the way out. Like, hey, okay. And then it was like, let's start a new way of living, right? That is intentional, where everything I do now works for me. And I think that's probably why I say that. I think I get it now. I don't think it had all clicked up yet when I was saying it before, but I get it now. So I always say, do it like your way. Because if you do it the way everybody else is doing it, you're just lining yourself up for a one-way ticket. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do things your way. And I remember making a very firm decision that, like, okay, it's going to work for me, and it's going to work for me my way. And like, and I remember like bargaining with Spirit, being like, do we have a deal? You know? And they were like, yeah, that's not a problem. That's the way it was always supposed to work. And I was like, cool. All right, let's do this kind of thing. And then had to sort of bring myself back. So it was a lot. It was health, physical health. It was a lot of mental health. The mental health did come back before the physical health did. But now I feel a lot better. I feel like, oh, thank God. Like, yeah, I feel a lot better. But it was a moment. It was a very spiritually heavy moment. And then also in the whole thing, that's when I like started writing the Glow Up Manifesto, because I think part of it was part of that was like a diary entry to myself. I didn't know at that moment that was the place that it was coming out of. And, you know, about how to sort of like reclaim life and reclaim the rules of life and making the rules of life your own. You know, all of that was written when I wasn't well, because that was like, this is how we're now fucking doing it, you know? But it hadn't clicked up yet that all of that was happening, and it was happening sort of like in that timeline in that kind of way. It has only just now clicked now, where I'm like on the sort of other side of the journey, and I'm reflecting and I'm looking back at it, where I'm thinking, oh shit, bitch. Oh my fucking God. Like, all of that sort of lining up. So that's where I was. I was getting my shit together, you know? And why do I talk about that? I think I talk about it because I think in a spiritual community, we don't talk about the shit that of life, which is what spirituality is. It's life. It's the ups and the downs, and you're not going to always feel positive, but how do you continue to move through when you're not feeling your best self? How do you continue? How do you find the strength? How do you find your inner power? How do you find your own motivation? How do you regain and reclaim your confidence when you're in a position where you feel like you're not supposed to have it? Like, that's the journey. And that's the part of the journey that I think a lot of people don't see, because no one talks about it. But something like life and death, that is spirituality. Death. People's thoughts about it, people's fear of it, or sometimes the desire for it, that is spirituality. But we don't talk about it enough. I'm not really sure why, like, that's the case, why we're always, like, as a community, stuck into sort of like this positivity kind of culture where we think that if it doesn't sound positive, we don't discuss it. But I feel like, no, like, the discussion is where like the change happens, and the discussion is where the transformation happens, and then the discussion is where you realize that, like, you are not going through things by yourself. and that other people are living these things and then figuring out ways to then overcome it. Like that, in my opinion, is like where the power is. It's in what society would call a tough conversation. Whereas, in my opinion, that should be the most natural of all natural conversations, because that is like the essence of what spirituality is. You know? Oh, let me go up. And back in the comments. 1000%. Even for me, I don't have a lot of life demands. And sometimes I'm like, wait, I need to pay attention to this. Self-care is important. Glad you took time for it. It is important. And I needed to take time for it. And I did. And I'm actually really proud of myself, because that's a bad habit that I have of like not doing that. So that can be difficult if you're an independent person too. It is. It so is. And says this feels like an important lesson. Also, you do look really vibrant tonight. Thank you. And it was. It was a massive lesson. It was a lot of lessons. It wasn't even just one lesson. It was a lot. It was a mixture of understanding who I was, and then some sort of culmination of who I am becoming, and an understanding that I'm always constantly becoming, but I've already also at the same time have made it, that like you're always kind of in the state of evolution, but at the same time you've always have arrived, because there isn't anywhere to go. That sounds confusing coming out of the mouth. But like it's a mixture of like you are and you aren't, but you're all these things all at the same time. And like it was pretty intense. Like I would have thought, if I wasn't like a mystic, I would have sworn to God that I was on drugs. Hands down. Getting surgery is such a vulnerable thing. Like you're just letting people operate on you. Yeah, it is super vulnerable. You're out. You know, when I moved to the operating table, I cried. There was a tear that fell out my eye, because it's a lot in there. You know, they got different kind of lights, and they're like the brightest fucking LED bulbs that I have ever seen in my goddamn life. And then everyone is in a fuss, and you've got like this whole team of people, and they're hooking you up to all these wires, and you've got some man, in my case, it was a man in a white coat, you know, and they've got tables with tools and shit on it, and you know they're about to cut you open, you know. And then they were like, can you move to the operating table? And it's hard, and it's steel, and the steel slab, and it's not comfortable. And there was like just one lone tear. Like, and it was a mixture of, oh shit, and I'm really scared, and like, how did I get here kind of thing. But the surgeon was really nice. He saw it and very discreetly held my hand. Like he didn't make a fuss about it. He didn't mention it. He didn't say anything about it. It was almost like he saw it out of the corner of his eye, and he grabbed my hand very quietly so nobody else in the room would even notice. And the next thing you know, my ass was out. I don't know anything other than them waking me back up and being like, scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level? A lot of people don't talk about when they're down and how to get back up and be honest. They don't. The most I see is how to overcome their childhood wounds. People don't talk about it. And it's framed as, and it's just like inner child healing. But what about the rest of it? You know, I think part of that may be like people interpret it as vulnerability. Like if I share this part of my story with you, that means I'm being vulnerable. Whereas like I look at it as like, that's my story. There's no vulnerability in it. That's the truth. That's what happened. Like, do I have to be vulnerable? Like, that's what happened to me. To me, it registers as facts, like statements of facts, as opposed to like this thing that needs to be so closed off and like hidden. Like, no, like it's a thing. And like it like really happened. And if I don't talk about it, then I'm not validating myself. And then where does that get me? It doesn't get me very far. And I think it would be helpful if like more people sort of leaned more so into that kind of view of like, these are just statements of facts. Like, this is my story. This is just what happened. And whether or not I have something to do with it, it happened already. Like, it is what it is kind of thing. That's a lesson. Anne says, that's a lesson I'm still struggling with. I had major surgery a few years ago and made myself go back to work too early. Wow. I should have rested longer and I should have insisted on more help. That's a hard one. And that's a hard one because there's nuance when work is involved. There is this underlying fear that you could potentially lose your job. There's this layer of like not wanting to look weak to these people, right? You know, not wanting to be perceived as not as that you can't do your job or being too unwell to do your job. Yeah, I mean, it has so many layers. And I remember going through that. I remember at one point trying to figure out how soon could I return. And then remember thinking, okay, and if I don't make it out of here, I'm not returning at all. So either I like take all of the time I need, or like, because it doesn't matter. I can always find another job, but like in this particular lifetime, I'm not going to get another life. Yeah, I'll reincarnate somewhere else. But like when it comes to this particular life, when I'm not going to get it again, kind of thing, you know? And then being like, and then I had to say to myself, like, no, tell them, not ask for the time off. Tell them what you need, not ask them for what you need. That was another lesson that I learned in this whole stint. Tell them what you need, not ask for what you need. And then worst case scenario, they try to bring you back, right? Like reduce it. And then if they do that, do you really want to work there? Should you really be working there? Kind of thing. And those are all questions that I asked myself. Like if they do that to you, then just get another one. And the market right now is absolutely crazy and wild, but your life is more important. And these were like pep talks that I had to tell myself, like through the entire process. Because first I was like, I asked the doctor, how fast do you think I can get up and moving? And they were like, and then it was that look that they gave me of like, that's the wrong question, right? That you're asking us, that made me realize, oh, I'm not going about this the right way, kind of thing. Anybody says, I think what's needed is psychology in a therapeutic sense, intersection with spirituality. I think we need some aspect of that. I just don't know what it looks like. Because the issue with like clinical psychology is that there's no spirituality woven into it. And how do you weave it in a way that's not too spiritual and not too clinical? Like, where is the balance? And then who gets to decide that balance? Is it some kind of governing board? Do we want it housed there? You know? Maybe the answer would be like a psychologist who happens to be really spiritual. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's about like nurturing new generations of people to be in tune with that side. So as they're going into all of these different professions, they can bring it with them. That's a good surgeon. It was a good surgeon. He was an older man, but he was one of those ones that was seasoned. He's seen the shit a million times kind of thing. Nothing really fazed him. Wasn't confused kind of guy. A little bit cold. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't the friendliest of men, but he was a man that like, he knew what he was doing and he very clearly was the professional and the expert in the room kind of thing. Also, even if it is a creator being vulnerable, viewers will bond with that even more because it's a person being authentic. I agree with that. I do. Yeah, I really agree with that. And says, my husband didn't help at all with housework either, and I was up and cleaning the house too soon. Yeah, men do this stuff. Like, yeah. And I remember my husband being like, I'm gonna tell you what we're not gonna do. But men will do this thing. And women like give into it. I don't know. I don't give into things like I was talking to one of my girlfriends about this a few days ago, actually, and we were talking about just like how men and how it's just like not helpful for women, particularly people that are like in like hetero relationships, like when it's like a hetero man and a hetero, like that kind of relationship dynamic, how it's just not helpful for women at all, and how men just like never show up the way men need to actually show up. And so what I have done in order to fix that problem is a little reverse psychology where I don't show up. And then it flips the dynamic and then he shows up because I stopped showing up. I've allowed there to be a void. I think women have a hard time allowing the void to exist because when it's uncomfortable, things aren't getting done, things are falling apart. I've always had this idea of like, let it fall apart. I'm going to keep my shit together, but your shit can fall apart. And I've always been that way, by the way. Like I even do that in jobs. Like when people don't listen to me and I'm like, this is my area of expertise and no one is listening, I'm like, let it fall apart. Because once it falls apart, you're going to come back and you're going to then listen to what it is that I have to say. And so I don't do that. Like I'm not going to get up and then I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let this shit fall apart. And then you're going to be sitting there like, why is it falling apart? And I'm going to be like, because you let it fall apart. I don't know if that means being unfair, but it's effective. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Is it like an efficient method? Couldn't tell you. Don't know. Don't have the slightest idea. But does it work? Yes. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't work that day. You do have to have a degree of patience and kind of let it play itself out. But if you are someone that can let things play itself out, it does work eventually. I've always been a long game person, right? Like I get satisfaction out of the eventual win. I don't need the immediate win. That's not fun for me because I couldn't puppet it. But like that long-term game played out, I love it. I love it. And it works really well. I just give it back. For example, when men do that whole sort of weaponized incompetence thing, I weaponize my incompetence back. What's an example of how this works in practice and out in the wild? Let's say, for example, one time my husband was like, honey, where are the scissors? And like the scissors are always in the same place. Like we have a scissor home. They don't ever move. It's in the same place every time in the same drawer, they don't go anywhere else. It's in the same place. Honey, where are the scissors? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have the slightest idea where the scissors went. No clue. Oh. And then you know what happens? They're forced to go to the damn drawer. And even if they don't go to the drawer first, are forced to look for it. They're forced to then find a solution that I'm not going to do. And I also made a commitment that I'm not using my brain power for you. My brain is for me. I am the one that incarnated it with it. It works for me. You're not going to exhaust my mental fortitude with dumb questions. So whenever I feel like there's a question of like, there's a man question. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say like a man question. Whenever there's a man question that's asked, I respond as a man would, which is with, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how that works. When I do, I know exactly how it works. I know exactly how to fix it. I know exactly where it is. But am I going to give it to you? No, because then that means if I give it to you, I have now enabled you to not know how it works, to not know how to fix it, and to not know where it is. I'm not helping you by giving it to you. All I'm doing is creating additional resentment for myself. So I weaponize too. I think people will feel different ways about that. Some people would be like, thanks for the tip. Some people would be like, don't you think that's childish? Maybe. But it works for me. I don't know how people would feel about it. You be cracking me up so bad. Is that funny? Like, is that a funny thing? To me, that's like, I don't know. To me, that's like a thing. It's just like a normal, like, why would I be stressed? Honey, how do I do this thing? If it's something I think that you should know how to do, my answer to you is, I have no idea. I'm so sorry. I don't know. And then I look at you like this. I don't know. I've never seen it before. That's my favorite one. I've been using that a lot recently. I've never seen it before. I have the slightest idea. I don't know. Then I go right back to doing what it was that I was doing. Vixie says, oh my gosh, I need to start doing that too, because I swear they don't even try to look before asking. They don't. And like all men do that. Like no, they don't. They don't do it. And like, I'm not your mom. And I find that like part of it in like I have to take responsibility for like my feelings if I do respond. If the alternative is resentment. That's it. I had to accept that within myself, that that's how I felt. Either I resent you, or I gotta be a little petty, but at least I'm honest about it, you know? At least I'm honest, and at least I'm calm now. So, the movie Night Bitch, streaming on Hulu, illustrates this weaponized incompetence pretty well. It's a funny movie, but also pretty powerful. It's so bad how they do it. I don't even understand. And it's all of them. And it's in every dynamic where women exist. Even in the workplace, I watch men willfully be stupid. It's the most bizarre thing and then they push everything off on women. Even in the workplace, that's the case. Even in the workplace. And I see a lot of women rush to fill the void. That's not my job. That's not my job. And then we as women, we get upset because we're filling the void. I'm not filling shit. Either I hate you or I love you, and I can't love you if I fill the void. So I'm going to have to leave it. I got to let the shit drop and then just leave it. And so what I do is like create containers for myself. So for example, let's say the house is a mess and that shit is driving me crazy, right? I'll have a container that's mine. So like it may be like my home office that's like super pretty and it smells really, really nice and it's super, super clean and no one is allowed in there. I have my own containers, and that's what makes me go, oh, okay, kind of thing, right? Or if things smell too much like boy, I have all my pretty like perfumes and stuff, and I have a nice, pretty smelling area. I have my own containers of things that are just mine that are set up in the way in which I like it. So I'm not wigging the fuck out all of the time. There's a scene where the husband agrees to give their 2-year-old a bath so the mom can finally take a nap, and he keeps interrupting her. I think I saw a clip of that with the stupid stuff. Yeah, men do that, but shut the fuck up. Do we say that as maybe I'm the only one that says that? I'm not sure how other people behave in their relationships, but like, shut up. And I may not say it like that, but I may just be like, can you leave me alone? Just leave me alone for like a minute and stop asking me a lot of stupid questions because it's annoying. And in all fairness, I would say the same thing to a 4-year-old. All right. I may say it a little nicer, but I would say the same thing to a child. So like, if you're annoying me, stop annoying me. And I think as women, we have this issue with just letting people annoy us and not saying stop, like, stop doing that. Like, it's annoying. Stop that. We just take it and we grin and bear it. But like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Women, we already have issues after getting married where our lifespan decreases. I'm not dying over you. Okay? You're not draining me of my life force. I've already gone down that path. We're not doing it again. And it's damn near not happening from you. I'm listening intently for when I eventually get a girlfriend. I love to play dumb back, gotta train folks in critical thinking. That's what I'm saying. And I've gotten in the past, well, you're just so smart. I know. You would be too if you read some books. This is so true. I hate feeling resentful. Yeah, it sucks. Particularly when you feel resentful towards someone that you like really, really love and care about. And so men are not going to stop doing. Women have been carving the shit into stone tablets. Men are not changing, and neither are women. So the best that both sides can do is just take accountability for the side of it that they bring to the table, right? A woman's need to feel like she has to fix everything, and then recognizing where that comes from and recognizing that those needs don't come from today's age, right? Your feeling of needing to fix everything, to cook and to clean and make sure everything is taken care of is so your husband wouldn't leave you, and then you had no money, no resources, no safety, no housing, and nowhere to go. But we live in a different day and age. But that's where all of that comes from. That's a survival instinct that's kicking in. And so women go into this mode where we're like, we got to fix, we got to fix, we got to fix. Because if we don't fix, then the body thinks that it won't be safe. But that was a different day. That was a different day. That's not where a lot of women are today. And for any of you that watch this, where you're like, I don't know, young mid-20s, unmarried, if I could give you any word of advice, right? If marriage is something that you want, if I could give you any word of advice, make sure you have some money first. Just make sure you have some money. Your own money and your own account. Because at that point, when you feel safe to leave, whenever you want, and the only thing you walk away with is just a broken heart, right? You're not walking away left on your ass. It becomes a lot easier to stand up for yourself when you need to stand up for yourself, to advocate for your needs. It's easier for you to do that. If you get married and then that person is in charge of everything about how to manage and run your life, and you don't have anything for yourself, it becomes a lot harder for you to use your voice within that dynamic. And so if you want to be able to move freely within your relationship dynamic and feel empowered within your relationship dynamic, you need to have your own money somewhere. You need to have some access to some resource somewhere. You need to have enough money where if you never needed to leave and get housing and feed yourself, and if you ever have children, to feed them too, you need to make sure you have something stashed away. You don't need to know about it, right? Where you can walk at any time. And then that makes it easier for you to speak up freely in your relationships. I do find that sometimes women that have more struggles with this are the balance is off, and it's usually the man holding more of the resources. And so when that balance is off in that kind of way, it becomes harder to advocate for yourself and speak up when you need to, because there's survival that's on the line. Maybe there's children that's on the line, kind of thing. But when you have your own, when you're the one that built the damn table, you choose who gets to sit at it. And it's a lot easier to maneuver within a relationship that way. Less things phase you, kind of thing. Vanner says, oh my goodness, Mr. Grade, you're back. Hello from my fashionably late behind. Hello. Anne says, I feel like I have generations of entrenched, messed up gender roles to overcome. We all do. We all do. And you damn sure need your own money. You need your own stuff. Like, I'm not saying that you don't need anything to share, right? Or you shouldn't have anything to share, but there's definitely should be something of your own. Like, if you have joint accounts, fine. But like, you need to have something of your own that's just yours with just your name on it, right? Like, make sure it just got your name on it and there's nobody else's name on it, kind of thing, right? And the only way that money goes to that person is if you like die. Like, you want to have something that's just yours. Yeah, that's so true. Even if it's something where your husband's account gets locked or something. Yep. And not a divorce. You just have your resources. Yeah, you just have your stuff. Like, you need your stuff, and you should also know where everything is, even if you're not the one that deals with it. You should also know the where all the payments go, even if you're not the one that's paying for it yourself. So for example, like, you should always know, like, who's the mortgage with, right? What company is the lights with, kind of thing. Like, you should still know where everything is going, even if you're not the one that's actually paying for it. You need to understand your life. This is how men gain control. Because you have no information. You need to have information. You need to have the knowledge. You need to be equipped to answer questions, you know? Nowadays, people are also getting laid off as well. The layoffs are crazy. The layoffs are absolutely crazy. Crazy the way the fucking, but didn't we talk about this? back during my Trump talk shit days, which by the way, I'm over at this point. I feel like I told you guys already. I don't have any interest in keep discussing it. I feel like I've already said enough, you know? Like I don't know what else more I could say about it. About that man at this point. Oh, by the way, Fool's Guide to Tarot. If you want to learn tarot, go get the book now. Oh, there it is. Out now. You can go grab it on Amazon. The link is in the description. And I got a new Substack, guys. Yeah, mystikrain.substack.com. If you guys like Substack and you like reading and things like that, you should go subscribe. We talk a lot about spirituality, but the more empowering side of it, you're not going to get a whole lot of shadow work from me. But you will get a lot of things like stepping into your own leadership, understanding what leadership is, right? Stepping into using your presence, understanding how to wield your presence, what presence is, right? And this new thing that I'm starting called Maven mode, like how to be your own Maven in your own life and like what that may look like for you and how to design it in a way that works for you, because everyone's Maven is different, but everyone has one. And like learning how to harness those things. And of course, like spiritual readings, occasional podcast mini drops. It's all over there on my Substack. You should go check that out. Apparently, I like to write. It's really interesting, but I'm starting to learn that every day. I learn that more and more about myself, you know? What else was going on? Yesterday was my birthday. Told you, a lot of updates. Yesterday was my birthday. What did she do? Well, I went shopping. I mean, that's what I always do. Damn near knocked my husband out because I may or may not have come home with a Louis bag unannounced. And he may or may not have hyperventilated. But what can you do when it comes to things like that? Not much. And, I didn't let him know to calm down because this weekend was National Outlet Day and your girl definitely plans on going to the Gucci outlet. To which his response was, okay, I support you. And then I thought that meant with money. And so I damn near robbed my husband because I was like, oh, word? Okay, just like send me the money, like just transfer the money in the account. And he was like, what? And I was like, what? And he was like, I don't understand what you mean. I just said that I would support you. And I was like, yeah, great, like a sponsor, right? And he was like, no, I meant like support your decisions. And I was like, oh, I misunderstood. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Gemini. Yes, I am. Thank you. So yeah, I did. I had a birthday. I'm going to continue having a birthday because this weekend is National Outlet Day. I think it's on Friday, but the sale starts on Thursday. So I will be minding my business and, collecting knickknacks and paddywhacks. So, and then what else I got? Oh, and then the publishing. That's right. I did say that I was gonna talk about that. So I also, and mind you, I was doing all of this when I was supposed to be resting. Started a publishing house, which is really cool and really exciting. And to be quite honest, I actually started it I started it in February, actually. I only just started talking about it. And the reason why I started talking about it was because I had this moment where I was like thinking to myself, why don't we talk about things that we're working on? Or why don't we talk about things that we're doing or we want to do or like goals and stuff that we have? And I thought to myself, how weird is it that like as a society, people say, well, you shouldn't discuss what you're doing until like later on in the process. Maybe I guess that's to avoid envy or jealousy from other people. I think there's a level there that's like fear of failing at it publicly or fear of not accomplishing it publicly. And then I was like to myself, and I was like, okay, but even if I failed publicly, and I was like, I still started my own publishing house. What did you do? Like my public failure is still more success than you. And like when I had that realization, I was like, this is stupid. Like this is a stupid rule. Like who said that? Like if you're doing something and you're really proud of it and you're really excited about it, why not talk about it? And then if you reach a point they like later down the line where it's like not working, or even you get to the point where you're like, actually, I'm not really interested in the way that I thought I would be interested in this. Like, I'm not entertained by this in the way that I thought it would be. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. Like, who cares? Like, why do we do that thing? Like, it's just so coded in insecurity. And I was like, that's so dumb. And then then I told people, but I started doing it in February. And so how did it come? Well, it was a mixture of things, but it primarily started because I was looking for a solution. Because okay, so the original goal that I had was like I wanted to sort of map out a process where I would like always have like a book deal kind of thing, right? And because the traditional process and the traditional system says you have to like write a proposal and then you need to find an agent and then they got to love you and then they want to take your stuff and then the agent shops it around for you to different publishing houses and then they got to love you too and then they got to want to buy it and then you got to go through all these people and have all these steps. And then I was like, who wants to do that much work? So that was one reason, right? The other reason was because when I had initially submitted to my publisher, they didn't like dislike it. They actually said that they had liked it, but it was a combination of the genre was too crowded and then not really knowing where it would fit on a shelf kind of thing, them wanting me to flesh it out more, even though I felt like I liked it the way it was. And then I remember thinking, like, if I flush this out, it's gonna turn into a book that I don't want to write. I'm gonna be grasping for ideas that I didn't necessarily want to put in there in the first place. And then is it mine if I had to tweak it to make someone else like it? And then they were like resubmitted at the end of the year, meaning this year, so the end of 2025. And then I was like, well, I would prefer for it to be out by the end of 2025. And then that turned into, wait a minute, so I'm going to wait for all these people to maybe say yes, and then they're going to dictate my schedule and when I get to do things, and if I can and cannot. And then it was like spiraling, and I was like, this is too much. I don't like this. I don't like this system. And then I remember thinking, I don't think I'm going to enjoy the art of writing or the act of writing if I'm always jumping through hoops every fucking time. Like, if I have to have, like, something's got to give. Like, this is annoying. You know what I mean? And so I asked Spirit, I was like, Spirit, help me out. And I was like, I always say that there's another way. So there's another way. I know there's another way. I just don't know what that way is. Help me out. And then I was very specific with the ask of Spirit. What do I have to do to make sure I have a book deal no matter what? That was the specific question that I asked. And then after asking it, I remember sitting back and going, I'll wait until the answer arrived, right? But that question was circling. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? What do I have to do? And nothing was coming. Just what do I have to do? And then every time I would ask and nothing would come, I would just be like, just wait, it'll come. Whenever you're ready to hear it, it'll come. Whenever the answer is ripe, it'll come. Just wait. And then it came. It couldn't have been more than a week. It could have been a couple of days, to be quite honest. How fast it came, I was in the shower. And I heard start a publishing house. And I panicked in the shower. I went like one of these, like washing. Like, and then I was like, I heard something wrong. And that was the first thing that my mind went to. I was like, this isn't right. I heard something wrong because that was never what I had thought of. I was brainstorming all of these ideas on how to answer that question. And that was not anywhere on anyone's list. I had not came up with that by myself. And I wouldn't have come up with that by myself. And I wouldn't have arrived there by myself because, one, still didn't think that the whole author thing would happen. And then to take that several steps further and then turn that into publisher, my mind was just not there. Like, it was not on that track at all, kind of thing. I was trying to figure out a loophole within the traditional process itself. I wasn't trying to figure out that. And then I was like, no, that can't be true. That can't be right. I misheard that. And then it kept repeating. Start your own publishing house. Start your own publishing house. And I got out of the shower and my hands were shaking because I was like, oh my God, that sounds too intense. That sounds too big. That sounds too much. That sounds too, I can't do it. Right. And it was like, it had this relentless grip that wouldn't like let me go. And I knew, like, I could just feel it in my bones that it had to be done and it needed to move fast. And it wasn't something that I could sleep on for a week. It needed to happen. And I didn't know why. And I had anxiety about it. But I remember I asked Spirit, because I remember saying, I'll listen this time. Me and Spirit have this thing where, like, I'll ask And then they say, okay, but you have to listen to us. And I'm like, I will. Of course I will, you know? And so I've got anxiety, but I'm like, I promised them I would listen. So I'm just following directions. And then the following day, after getting that initial download, no. That night, I said to my husband, I said, I think I'm supposed to start a publishing company. He was like, what? And I was like, I don't know. And then the next day, I went and I filed the paperwork immediately. And then sat with it for another week as I didn't know what to do. And the spirit was like, okay, do this, do that, do this, that, do that. And it's a really interesting process because the whole thing is channeled. It's very much co-created. I will do a task and then like sit back and then be like, all right, spirit, what's next? And sometimes spirit is like, make this SOP. You need a standard of operating procedures for this thing. It can be, oh, you go get that membership. It can be, oh, like it's really abstract and it's different. And it's things that I would have never thought to do by myself, but it's like, do this, do that, do this. And I'm just listening. And then eventually kind of what happened is like at the beginning of the summer, maybe beginning of May, it kind of took on like a life of its own, like an energetic life of its own, and just started to move. And it just required a lot more of my time. But it's interesting because it's the first thing in my life that I started doing that I like. Okay, hold on. I like a lot of things, but like when I think about like out of all my education and then even my career and different things that I've done, I thought I liked those things. And then I realized now that I didn't, or maybe I liked it kinda. Whereas this is the only thing I'm doing or I have done so far in my life where it doesn't bore me, which is really surprising because everything else eventually at some point in time, it bores me. And the last time I felt that way was when I first found tarot cards 15 years ago. That was the first time I felt that way, when I found something that I was just so interested in that it didn't bore me. And I was like, how funny is that? Because it's the tarot cards that led me to this. The tarot, I don't think it's weird because when it comes to my life, I don't think it has to do anything with tarot. I think the tarot is the gateway to something. I just don't know what it is yet, kind of thing. But anyway, so it got me to where I am now. I'm learning a lot because I have to, right? Learning a lot about the industry. It's a lot of studying and it's moving at a pace where like I already have to evolve the model. So that's something I'm working on. Before I had like an author publishing model. The original intent that I had was that it was going to be something that held my rights, that held my publishing. It was originally supposed to be meant for me to hold my work. And then I started talking about it and now people are interested. And I'm like, oh, is this what's happening? I think it's got to evolve into maybe at some point in time holding other people's work. Because a lot of people, there's interest. People are like, oh my God, I'm so inspired to like write. Can you help me? You know, can you coach me? There's a lot of that coming that I did not at all anticipate would be a result of that. And so it's growing, but it's growing legs, but it's kind of doing so by itself. And it's really kind of fun to watch, you know. It's a little scary because this is not my industry whatsoever. It's turning into my industry now, which is kind of cool. You know, I didn't think that I would have a second job in publishing, but that's kind of cool too. And, you know, but there's a lot to learn. My industry is like nonprofit, particularly advocacy. You know, that's my lane. That's what I've done. But here we are now. And a lot of my experience from my like profession has been used in the setup process. So many of my skills were applicable in order for me to move it over here and then like get it up, which is wild to me. And so I'm like, oh, all of this is connected. You're funny. So yeah, we're in the startup phase now. I don't know what it's going to be, mostly because it wasn't my original idea. I'm following directions. I'm following like spiritual directions and guidance, and all of it's channeled. And so it's being co-created. I don't yet know its purpose or what it's here to hold or what it's here to do, but it's fun. And I do it every day. Every day I learn something new. I'm always like, there's always something that I'm doing every day that I'm learning every day. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know. Oh, that's how you do that one thing. Oh, okay, cool. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I know. It's interesting. I didn't think I would do that. I didn't see myself doing that. All because I didn't like no and I didn't have the patience to wait another year. And I said, fuck y'all. I'll do it myself. And in a spirit of rebellion, here we are. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I gotta go. What Bamber said, I saw the short of that. You were surprised? Oh, because the whole movement is silencing. Mm-hmm. I learned that I tell people what I'm working on prematurely as a form of self-sabotage because of seeking approval or justifying quitting. Yeah, we do use it as a form of self-sabotage. I think what it is that we're not embodied yet, right? Because it doesn't matter what it is that you do or how good you are at it. There's always going to be someone that disapproves or just doesn't agree. Or they're hating, or they don't get it, right? Like, it doesn't matter how phenomenal you are, that's always going to exist. There's going to be someone that just can't see it. And I think it's an embodiment thing where you reach a point within your own journey where you're sure of yourself, at least sure of yourself trying. Maybe not sure if you'll win or succeed because you may be in the early stages, so you may not know what's going on at that point, but more so sure of your decision to try. Like, once you realize that you become sure of your decision to go for it, regardless of the outcome, then I think that is that sort of marker when you know it's okay to talk about it. And that may be kind of what people are coming from when you go, I don't really care what you have to say about it. Did you do it? And what I'm realizing is that, like, the fact that you're willing to try something, you are 10 steps ahead of the person that's hating. Like, the fact that you're willing to try something, that makes you more successful than your neighbor because they've done nothing. And so, like, my thing is, like, even if I were to fail publicly at this or anything else, I'm still more successful than you because you did nothing. So why do I care about whatever your opinion you've got? If you were doing something, you wouldn't have an opinion. If anything, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Keep going. Keep going. Let's see what happens with it. Right. But if you have such strong negative opinions about it, that means you've done nothing. And probably what's happening is that I'm reflecting back to you all the things you did not do, which is a lot of the times what it is, especially when you've got an idea, oh, I'm going to start this one thing, I'm going to do this one thing. And then you tell people, sometimes it reflects in them. They see what you're doing that they didn't do. And that is really triggering for people. But I don't really like the validation part. Me personally, because if I don't get it, I'm sad. If I go to you for validation and you don't give it to me, I'm sad. So I never really ask for validation. I'll just do it myself. I can't handle it. I can't handle the honesty. I thought I could. Evidently, I can't. Yeah, not bad today. Not bad today. Anyway, I did have a message outside of all of that. And what was the message? Okay. It was because it was layered. Had something to do with manifestation. Hold on, it's coming back. Okay, manifestation and doing a thing that whatever. Okay, so there's like this feeling in the air of like, oh, actually, one of you just said it. This feeling of wanting to quit, of like giving up on something, like this feeling of like wanting to quit, but it feels like tied to like manifestation as opposed to like I had a goal. It feels like this feeling of like not seeing results, or maybe it's not that there aren't any results, not seeing it in the pace of which you want to see it, or not having it come to you in the way that you would want to have it come to you, and it's not being delivered in the way that you want to see it, kind of thing. And then there's also like this additional issue of comparing yourself to other people and what you perceive their success to be, right? So the first thing that I want to say about that is that most people are lying. the issue with like manifestation and goal accomplishment is that the majority of what you see about it on social media is a lie. And that is skewing a lot of your viewpoints about what is realistic, what's possible, and what you can and can't do. And the issue with social media is, especially recently, there is a bit of a manifestation culture pocket thing that's happening where people are like, let me tell you how I manifested $100. Or not $100, $1 million. Let me tell you how I manifested 6 figures doing this one thing, right? Let me tell you how I made 6 figures by selling digital products, right? I have a course for you. Enroll into my course and I will teach you how to sell digital products for 6 figures. And then you enroll into the course and it's bullshit kind of thing. And like what I have to say to that is that if you are on the internet and someone claims to be a millionaire and they've got carpet, they're lying to you. If you're on the internet and someone claims to be a millionaire and there's a stain on the carpet, they're lying to you. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that's saying that they're making $1 million is lying, but I am saying that there's a number of them that are lying to you, right? I've seen it myself, right? Where they're like, I made it. I'm like, you're not a millionaire. You have carpet. Millionaires don't have fucking carpet. Carpet is cheap. And if they do have carpet, they have cleaners and there would never be a fucking stain on it, right? Also, your seams don't match up. People with money don't wear clothes where the seams don't match up because those clothes are sold at places like Rainbow and Primark. Now, here's the thing. I love a Rainbow. Used to. And I love a Primark. Used to. However, my tax bracket has changed and I don't shop at those places anymore. And those places, because it's cheaper clothing, the seams just don't match up. And so when people are saying these things to you, look at them. Are they exhibiting millionaire behavior? Because most of them aren't. Are they exhibiting 6-figure behavior? Most of them aren't. And your behaviors and your actions, you have preferences the more money you have, right? And so I do think that this is like affecting what people think is not real, it's not real. Like all these people are lying, they are storytelling. But what I do think is happening, I do think there's a fair amount of people who are like, how I manifested $1 million. They're actually doing a practice in which they are acting as if the $1 million showed up before it arrived, which is a manifestation technique. I think part of that is what that is, right? So they're trying to embody it before it has showed up. But like, I know a tax bracket when I see one, and a lot of them aren't in their tax brackets. Okay. Like, do I make $1 million? No. I'm a 6-figure earner. You know what I mean? And I have 6-figure preferences, which is how I know these people are fucking lying. People, or my favorite thing recently these days, and this could be you, I could be calling some of you guys out, where they're like, what's the thing with designer bags? Why would you ever buy a designer bag? Who needs to spend money on a designer bag? And then the next post is like, but I make $1 million. I'm like, you don't make $1 million. People that have money for a designer bag just buy the damn bag. They're not buying fake bags. Canal Street is not fun for them. It's not a preference. It doesn't matter if all the bags are manufactured in China. The people with money want the brand stamp on it because they have money. People, well, what is it, for status? Yeah. Because they worked to get the status. Yeah, it is for status. So like when people are saying it's not real, it's not, you can't tell the difference between a fake bag. I can. I can. I can tell the difference. That stitch has 6 stitches. It should have 5. The leather is a little bit shiny. Yeah, I can. I can. And everybody else can too. The people who actually can buy the bag. And so don't listen to these people when they're saying this is how I meant. No, they didn't. They didn't do it. I believe that they're in the process of trying to actively manifest the 6 figures or the $1 million. I believe that. But I also believe that they don't actually have it, right? Look at the background, check the door. Me, I know my tax bracket. I have a 6-figure door. What does it look like? It looks like a suburban white door. I don't have a glass entry. That's not my tax bracket. Not yet. But if someone is telling you they have like $1 million and then they have like a regular wooden suburbia white door, no, they don't. And don't fall for that shit either, where they're like, I made $1 million, but like, I don't feel the need to spend it. Okay, so then that means either you didn't net $1 million, maybe you made $1 million in revenue, maybe you didn't net, or maybe you have a lot of fucking debt. And you made it, but you can't touch it. Maybe you don't have $1 million in liquid. Maybe you made it, but you can't touch it because your habits and your preferences have not yet grown to be that, right? So like, I say all this to say, in the world where you can get a fake Van Cleef bracelet from a TJ Maxx, like, stop looking at this manifestation shit that's on the internet and being like, oh, damn, I'm behind, because you're not. You're not behind at all, right? So like, that's one issue that I actually have with it. Oh my God, you guys are laughing. Wait a minute. Let me go back up. Oh, I missed a lot. I even missed the publishing. Cherry Blossom says, when I heard you were starting a publishing house, I had the thought that whenever the motivation comes back for me to write again, I'll be knocking. See? Sometimes you just got to do something, and then it ripples out, and then everybody else gets a little piece. And then Vander says, I was just going to ask if your publishing company will focus on esoteric books or cards, but then you said, I don't know the purpose of it. Well, definitely not cards, not right now. And the reason for that is because of tariffs. All cards are actually produced and made, they're made in China. And card decks themselves don't have a good profit margin. People like, you're not making money from a card deck. You're making the card deck because you have a passion for it and you fell in love with the art or whatever, or the message, but you're not making money from a card deck kind of thing. And with the tariffs, it's not actually worth creating them right now. So that's a definite no. But it's spirituality. So all things mind, body, spirit, thought, leadership, mindset transformation will be a lot of it. And I have a feeling that it will evolve with me. So anything new that I get into, I probably will add it. Naysayers could be the biggest motivators. Yes, they can. You're getting married this year? Oh, I'm getting married this year, and that's totally the vibe I'm getting from my family. They see their own failures in lives and try to push it onto me. Did this start happening after I don't know how long you've been engaged, but did it start happening after getting engaged? Because this is a thing, when people get engaged, it's supposed to be a happy time, but people start to kind of turn on you a little bit when that happens, which was weird. That was something that I didn't know, but then had to learn. I hadn't realized that. And then they start looking at their failed marriages, or maybe they didn't have the opportunity to get married, or failed relationships, different things like that. Rubo dear, you're in here. Not the attack on the carpet. I'm telling you, look, I have seen a number of videos of people with carpets talking about, I'm a millionaire. I'm like, no, you're not. They have hardwood floors. Oh, my nose. It's because I'm talking shit. Like no, you have carpet. And the seams, yeah, when seams don't match up, it's okay. I have some clothes in which my seams don't match up either. It was cute, it was probably on sale, and there was a bargain. But when you have more money, the more money you make, then you have resources to shop at better places. And the better quality the clothes are, the better they're made, which means that people take the time to match the seams. Matching the seams is a very expensive process or expensive things because it takes longer to do. Like versus running something through a machine and then it just kind of like Shein will patchwork your shit together, right? It'll just patchwork you together. And I used to love Shein before I changed tax brackets. All my shit was patchwork together, okay? And I still got some of that patchwork in my closet. But the more you go up, the less they do that, right? So if someone is saying I made $1 million and you look at their shirt and the left side don't match the right side, and don't let it be a shirt with stripes. Oh my God, if they're wearing stripes and the stripes don't match the whole way around the shirt, they're lying to you, okay? They're lying. Yes, the doors. The doors. The doors will tell you. Teaching people how to manifest $1 million to manifest $1 million is crazy. Where there are people who are doing this, and they're doing it as their like strategy for themselves, as like embodying the million. If I act like I'm a million now, then I'll become a million kind of thing. And so not all of it is like malicious or with bad intent. A lot of people, there's a fair amount of them that have like real intent that like if I embody it, it'll happen kind of thing. But it's so misleading. Oh, okay. So yes, the bad advice and low-key animosity started after the engagement. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. So the only thing I can really say to you is like, don't feel like you are by yourself in this process. That is something that a lot of people experience. It's just weirdly one of those conversations in society that we don't have. But you're not alone in that. A lot of people experience that when people get engaged, people start to turn on you. I've had, yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, it's part of the reason why there was no wedding. Because by the time we got to the time, but by the time it was time to get married, everyone had turned their back. Everyone was, no, that's not true. But they definitely had animosity. And I remember having this feeling of like, well, I'm not paying to feed you and you low-key hate me right now. And I don't want to be around people when I'm supposed to be like expressing my vows. And right now they're not genuinely happy for the love right now. I don't want to introduce that into new love that's supposed to have its own lifeline. So that was actually part of the reason why I didn't have a wedding. Outside of, my husband being a 90-day fiance and immigration. Those videos have spared my feed. Suddenly I can't read. That's funny. For my desire, the idea came to imagine or envision the timeline of me having the desired outcome coming to me present times. If that that does make sense. Like you have collapsed time. You've taken the timeline and you've pulled it close to you. When I reach that million plus bracket, I'll make my drip tailor-made head to toe. I'm telling you, your preferences will change, and you probably have that already, and you probably already do little things and tweaks to do that when it comes to your clothing already. You probably already have a little bit of that that's showing itself, right? Like, man, I was at work and they wanted to do an icebreaker. Ugh. And one of the questions was, they said to me, what was the question? If you won the lottery, you won't tell anyone, but there'll be signs. Like, what's the sign? And my answer was, I'll be missing. Honestly, if I won the lottery, I don't even know if I'd be here. I'm just gonna live my rich best life. What the fuck do I need here? Oh God. And then it escalated and they were all cute and stuff. And they were like, well, what about a designer bag? Like, would you end up with the designer bag? And I was like, I didn't realize you have to wait to win the lottery to do that. But sure, I guess. The icebreakers. It's crazy. Girl, I just thought the same thing. If I win the lottery, I'm out. I'm missing. That's the sign. The sign is that I'm on the side of somebody's milk carton. I told my husband, and I was like, you wouldn't even know if I won the lottery. You wouldn't know, because I would have already gotten a lottery attorney. That shit would have already been split up. There would have already been trusts made, and that shit would have already been invested. By the time you found out, that money would have been so tightly tied up, you wouldn't even be able to get your hands on any of it. And then I would wake you up in the middle of the night. You wouldn't even know why. Should be like it would be 2:00 in the goddamn morning. You'd be like, what? The bag's already in the car. The dog already loaded up. Okay? You're like, where we're going? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Just keep your head low, right? Out of the country. I would have already organized it. We would have had lodging somewhere else. There would have been offshore accounts already. Shit in Switzerland. Like, like what? People say, well, if I win the lottery, I wouldn't know what to do. You don't know what the fuck to do. Are you kidding? I would have had a fucking attorney stat. I would have gotten myself a fucking lottery attorney. It would have been done. Are you fucking kidding me? Organize a trust. I don't want this shit in my name. What? Are you kidding me? The strategy would have been mapped out immediately. Are you kidding? I would have won the lottery at 7 p.m. That shit would have been done by 7 a.m. What? Give me 12 fucking hours. 12 hours. That's all I need. Like, wait, I won the lottery. We didn't know what to do with this. So we spent all of it. You didn't know what the fuck to do with it. This is what I'm telling you, why people who have millions of dollars have preferences. People with money know what to do with it. Oh, God. See, you would have a tailor, not a cobbler. You would have a cobbler, not the shoes. We had a similar question when I started work, which was, what would you spend it on? And you can't say paying bills. I hate these questions because they're not, I don't think I'm the right. So at my workplace, I'm like a sleeper agent, right? Like, they don't know I'm fabulous. And that's on purpose, right? That's like a strategy for me, because I don't need you to be in your feelings about the shit that I've got going on in my life, kind of thing. And so they ask these kind of questions, and I'm like, oh, you really just genuinely don't know me. I'm trying to get, like, what's her name on Instagram and TikTok? Her name is Bella Bloom, and she just fucking puts caviar on her breakfast for seasoning. Like, that's like when I tell you rich people got preferences, that's the kind of shit that I would be on. I would be on, if I had that kind of money, I would be on Becca Bloom time. Okay? Because, like, one thing about me, man, shit. And I get high. Like I can't walk out of a designer store without being high. Like, the shopping, what it does to me on a biological level. I go manic, okay? A whole island, yep. Mm-hmm. The poor husband getting snatched, like, in the movie. You know why he would get snatched, like, in the movie Taken? Because he would panic. Like, we have different money personalities. I see money and it doesn't, like, faze me. And I think the reason for that is, like, I've worked, like, in my profession for, like, big nonprofits with, like, we're talking like multi-million-dollar budgets. And in my role as, like, I oversee operations. Part of that is human resources, which is why I know HR, but, like, my trade, like, what I do is operations. That's what I oversee. And money is a part of that, right? Like, the business operations of how those things run. So I'm used to seeing a lot of money in an account. And so the first time I remember the first, like, earlier in my career, the first time I saw $1 million in an account, and I, like, hyperventilated a little bit. But then after, like, sort of just working in those kind of spaces, when you see money that high, it's just like, oh, okay, kind of thing. It just looks like a number. It doesn't mean anything. So when I like see money, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, how many things can I get for this resource kind of thing? But I don't have like a reaction to it, where a lot of people see money and there's anxiety. You start getting hot in the chest. You start to panic kind of thing. I don't have that kind of relationship to it. And so it's easy to let it go. And then when you let it go, it comes back to you easier versus when you're like clinging on to it for dear life kind of thing. Right. But my husband is not the same way. He's going to panic. Mm-hmm. He's going to hyperventilate. He's going to freeze up so bad that he doesn't remember what day it is kind of thing. So it's definitely a situation where it's like, okay, honey, sit down. I'll handle this. I got it. Don't worry. Don't you worry your pretty little head off kind of thing. Right. I got this. So I already have a whole plan. And he was laughing about it because I was like, don't worry. I'll make sure you have a trust. Like I got in my mind, I have make-believe trust for kids that don't exist, just in case they may. Right. Like, oh man, I've already mapped the shit out many times. I have that. Look, I already know. You get yourself a lottery attorney and you're set. It's, you know what I mean? You just get yourself one of those. They exist. A lot of people don't know that they do, but they do. They exist and they get the money for you. So you're not all public and face shown and kind of stuff like that. And they like, they take care of your rights. So you get your stuff. And I already have this all mapped out when I tell you the amount of times that I have fantasized about this happening for my life. And every time I play the lottery, I'm like, this could be it. Lottery money is retirement money in another country. It is actually, and okay, you can actually not even lottery money. You can retire with a couple $100,000, and I say a couple $100,000. Like a couple $100,000 isn't a lot for a lot of people, but I say it that way because in today's day, like today, like at my age. If I want to retire, if I want to go all the way to retirement and then factor in the fact that it's very likely that the retirement age will be higher by the time I get there, and factor in things like inflation and everything that's happening in the economy, I remember maybe about 15 years ago, that number, you needed about $2 million in order to retire comfortably. That number is now at 5 million if you want to retire comfortably in the United States. Where? For most people, where is that coming from? And people don't necessarily see that. They go, here's my 401k, I'm putting all my money into it. And I'm like, well, is it going to reach 5 million? Like, you need a lot. And then people go, well, you can retire with less. You're right. She can't retire with less. Okay? She cannot retire with less. You can. That's fine. That's your business. She can't. Mm-mm. 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 Oh, you guys are so get you a part of that kidnap sheet right away. Like he'd be thrown in a fucking trunk. We wouldn't even be flying out of here commercial. Like this would be like this. We would have to be out on some kind of private something. Like this wouldn't even be. You think I can make it through ATL airport with that amount of fucking money? No. No. Not in the land of robbery. No. They're going to sense it on me. They're going to sense it because the switch to brand new would happen so fast. They're going to sense it. And says, I am new to tarot and I have been amazed at how uncanny the cards can be. I did a Celtic cross spread last night. I shuffled and shuffled and shuffled so well, and the cards I drew were spot on. I'm so proud of you, Anne. Venus says, I too have researched what to do when you win and how to claim anonymous. I made myself a family budget for the question of what would you do if you won if you won millions. The day I win, my 17th cousin's 3x remove won't even have time to materialize on my doorstep. I'd be looking like I never won a thing. I think my problem is that I would be looking like I won something. I would. I swear to God, I would. That's why we need to get out of here. Mystic, can I ask you a question? I've been playing around with making a YouTube ASMR channel. Do you think intuitively that that's a good idea? I think it is more about do I think intuitively? I will always think that someone following their ideas, their passions, their goals is a good idea. That's something I will always think is a good idea. It's not about whether or not I think it's a good idea. It's whether or not you think it's a good idea. It's not about me. It's not about what I think and although I so appreciate that you even trust me to come with me with this question, because it's something that, because what I sense from you is that it's something that you're really excited about, right? And you're like, oh, this could be really fun, right? But like, you're also kind of concerned of like, what if it doesn't work, because you hear a lot of stories about people being on social media and it doesn't really pop or whatever kind of thing. But that's not really the point of it. If you like it and it's fun for you, just do it. And do it until the wheels fall off, right? And the wheels falling off could be it pops and it's a super big deal and it's super successful and you're making money from it. The wheels falling off could be you did it for a little bit, you had fun, but it's not fun for you anymore. It doesn't matter. Just do it until the wheels fall off, because things that are meant for you sometimes does not come from the initial spark of inspiration. Sometimes that initial spark of inspiration gets you somewhere else, right? So for example, I one time had an idea that maybe I would start a YouTube tarot because I wanted to talk about tarot cards. And in the very beginning of this YouTube channel, and the videos are still up, those beginning videos, it's just me talking about tarot cards and then buying new decks and then unboxing them and talking about them. And then it had nothing to do with the YouTube channel itself. It was that because I spoke about tarot cards, I made tarot videos. Because I made tarot videos, it just escalated. I got to meet you guys. I became an author. I somehow have my own publishing company. And because that one idea and spark of inspiration was, should I make a YouTube account for tarot cards? And it turns out it was never about the tarot cards. So you could be stepping into a space where it gets you somewhere else, but that door doesn't open or unlock for you until you take this step. When we get drops of inspiration, by the way, inspiration means of the spirit. So it's coming down, right? If you are someone that listens to Abraham Hicks, they say the vortex. It's coming down the vortex. It's coming down a little pipe thing, but it's coming down from spirit. And a lot of times what's happening is that it is a breadcrumb and it's getting you to a different place. You could start a channel and it escalates something. Suddenly you realize that you actually love production or you love directing, and then you end up in entertainment. It may have never been about ASMR. It could have been where it was taking you. So, do I think it's a good idea? I think it's a great idea. I always think it's a good idea to follow your ideas, follow your passions, follow your goals, follow your insights, and ride it until the wheel falls off. And the worst thing that you're going to get out of it is satisfied curiosity. That's the worst thing that's going to happen. My job contributes to 401k and I use it as surprise money every few years. You're welcome. Me getting into drawing got me into creative writing, which got me into game development. See, it made me stop being shy with showing my art to the world. Sometimes it's not that spark, it's where that spark is taking you. The spark is what starts before the fire, right? So more so, I think a better question would just be, where is it leading me? What is it trying to show me? It's a breadcrumb. Where's the loaf kind of thing, you know? And just sort of just follow it, see what happens kind of thing. Also, I got off track. Manifestation. Besides people and unmatched seams, the other issue that's happening with some of you guys, there is an issue of worthiness that's coming up. We talk about this, but this has it just recycles back in, right? Like this idea of not being worthy of something. The bottom line is, if you think you can't have it, you're not going to have it. If you're trying to get something, and I don't care how much affirmations you write or how often you say it or how often you look in the mirror and you repeat it back to yourself or how much you script, that's cute. But if you don't believe that you can actually have the thing that you're writing down, you're not going to get the thing. You have to believe that you can have the thing. And the easiest way to believe that you can have the thing is just to allow yourself to have the thing. Now, I recognize that that sounds probably annoyingly oversimplified. Let's go back to art. Let's use art as an example because we were already talking about art, right? Let's say you have a goal or a dream of becoming an artist. And you're like, oh, should I do that one thing? Should I do that one thing? I don't know if I should do that one thing. Oh, I can't do that one thing. And then you start writing down these affirmations. I am an artist. But then you don't believe you're an artist, right? And because you don't believe you're an artist, you never do art. You never practice whatever your art is. You never practice your art at all. So you're just writing down affirmations, but not practicing the art. Or you could just do the thing or just practice the art. So instead of thinking about practicing the art, you can just practice the art. And then you go from trying to manifest becoming an artist to just being an artist. So some of the things you can do is just be the thing, right? Just do the thing. But you have to feel like you can have the thing. And then so we're also now having issues with worthiness of feeling like you can't have the thing. And part of the issue is that a lot of worthiness issues come from systems. So it comes from family systems and family dynamics, and a lot of the times societal systems and society's dynamics. All the systems that told you that you couldn't do it, that you couldn't be it, that it required all this work in order to become it, that you didn't work hard for it, right? So what you should do if you feel like you're stuck and it's not moving, start revisiting all those systems that told you you couldn't, or you had to do this one thing to get there, or it required all of these steps, and start dismantling that system, right? And you just dismantle it by saying, actually, this doesn't apply to me. This rule is for you. This rule isn't for me. I respect this rule helps you. The rule doesn't help me. So therefore, I'm disregarding it. People disregard rules all the time. Look at Trump. You can live a life lawless, okay? You don't have to do the thing that everybody else is doing. Going back to, you can actually just do it your way, but you have to feel like you're worth doing it your way. And so that you're going to have to start dismantling those systems. A lot of this, I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. Why? Where did that start? Who told you couldn't do it? Who did you show your macaroni plate to when you were a kid and they threw it in the garbage? Who laughed at your drawing when you thought you drew the most beautiful portrait and it really kind of was stick figures, but who laughed at it because they didn't see the vision? Where did it start, right? Like you need to go back to that moment and then unravel it, pull the thread and unravel it to make it loose, right? And realize that if you have an experience with someone who you showed your art to and they just didn't get it, it's because they didn't get their own creativity. People who, and most people are like this actually, stunted, they don't have access to their own creativity, and so they can't see yours. And ideas and inspiration lives in the creative space. We're creators, right? But when you don't have access to your creativity, and a lot of people don't, you have to sort of come back into it. You have to kind of refine it. And a lot of times people find it again by allowing themselves to be their authentic, true selves, by allowing themselves to be their authentic version. And a lot of times they come back into it, right? But they're not in touch with their creativity, so they can't see yours. When people don't have vision, they can't see your vision, right? When people have vision, when you explain yours, even if they don't get it, they go, oh, I can see where you're trying to go, right? But when people don't have vision, they can't see yours. So go back to all those moments. You will see that you were interacting with someone that did not have vision. It could have been your parents. They did not have vision because they were not in touch with their creativity. And somehow that interaction stunted yours, and you reached a point where you felt like you couldn't do it. It was too much. It was too much leadership. I don't have the skills. How am I supposed to study that? I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. Blah, 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 blah. Right? All your excuses, right? So go back and then allow yourself to dismantle it. And an easy way that you can try to do that is by also just granting yourself permission, right? So you may feel like in that moment that it's just too heavy to dismantle, but you can also just grant yourself permission to do the thing, right? I want to pursue art, using that as an example again. Just grant yourself permission to do it. Not be perfect, not to get it right the first time, not for everyone to like it, not for everyone to get it. You're granting yourself permission to be you, which is to be creative because you're the creator, right? Like to be creative and to do and to try is like your most natural state of being. And so just allow yourself to go and do and to be creative. Pick up that thing that you want to do. Just be the thing, you know? And if it is $1 million and you're like, how the fuck do I do that? I don't want to do that. Be like the people that are on the internet. Work on the physical side of how you feel when you're around money. How do you feel if I were to give you $5,000 right now, what happens? Are you like, ooh, oh my God, that's life-changing? Or are you like, that's cute, but that doesn't sound like enough? Or are you like, that's it? Only $5,000? Like, what's happening, right? If I'm like, I'm going to give you $5,000 right now, and then sort that out. Because if you want a lot of money, your nervous system has to hold it. And like, you're going to have what your nervous system can hold. So if you're still like if I say, hey, here's $5,000, go spend it on something, what comes to your mind? No, I wanted to save it. I wanted to hold it. I wanted to hoard it. Or you're like, bet I'm going to go to that cobbler, right, and get me some shoes. Like, what happens to you? Is your nervous system acting up? And if it's acting up, then you got to start there. Start working on your nervous system and how you're responding to money, which is just a resource. How are you responding to resources? If you are panicking when you're thinking about resources, when resources should do the opposite, which is make you calm, then do you think that you are properly equipped to hold the resource should it show up? Paying down bills and taking a bit to treat myself. Why a bit if you paid down all your bills? Why a bit? That's how my mind works. Like, why? Because my mind, if someone goes, I'm going to give you $5,000, I go, that's it? That's where my mind goes. That's all? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Thanks, I guess. Like, what do I do with that? Like, I don't really, because if you zoom out, there's like bills, but like when you think about the amount of money that's actually in the world, when you think about the amount of circulation that there actually is, what am I supposed to do with $5,000? That's it? You feel what I'm saying? Like, how would Donald Trump respond if someone was like, I'm gonna give you $5,000? You think he's gonna take that well? He would be insulted. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, you spitting. Juvie. I would also respond to you with thank yous. You're welcome. Because it's not enough to pay all of them completely off. But I've been learning to say thank you and be appreciative because it seems to get more stuff after. Yeah, you could be thank you, but you can also like, how do I word this? Thank you doesn't have to be the last word in a sentence. You can say thank you and, right? Like you can ask for more. Thank you and, what's a real world example of this? This happens a lot because I see this all the time with like hiring. People get a job offer. Here's how much we're willing to pay you. Here is our offered salary. Your response should be thank you and I appreciate it and not but and in my head, wait, but I may have been off that train. Okay, I thought in my head a bit would be like within 1,000. Yeah, to me, I think that's it. That's all you're giving yourself? For me, like, for some people, this is an afternoon. That's it. That's an afternoon. Like, what I'm trying to get you to see is that there's more that's possible. What I'm trying to get you to see is that there's more that exists and that there are many people that live in a world in which that is an afternoon. 5K, I'm traveling immediately. My dog is going to live in luxury while I'm gone. I'm going to just buy stuff and not even look at the price. I might leave in debt, but the mindset is there already. Okay, this is where I got to come back at you. I might leave in debt. Why? Why do you have to leave in debt? Why is there nothing left? Why is there an assumption that more didn't come in afterwards? Why is it that you were envisioning these things that would make you happy, you're excited, and then you tacked on a punishment at the end that I might leave in debt because I spent the money. And I think this is a good exercise because a lot of people do this and they don't even realize that they're doing it. They go, okay, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to really enjoy it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to be really, really grateful. And then they tack on a punishment. But then I'm going to eat ramen noodles for the next 3 months. Yeah, that is chump change, but it covers my living expenses for a long time, to be honest. And it does, because here's the thing, right? That is real life today, right? Like $5,000 does cover living expenses. That is real life. And that is the life that a lot of people are living. My point that I'm trying to get you to see is that that's not everybody. That there is an entire society that's massive that does not live like that. And what I'm trying to point out is that there are options, but you have to see it first. A lot of the times your mind can't even jump to the possibility of living that way because it never identified that it was an option in the first place, right? So sometimes first the option has to come into the awareness, and then you have to then figure out how you feel about the option, you know? And then if you like the option, then you can then start figuring out, okay, how do I move towards that option? But if you are unaware that the option exists, then it's impossible to move towards it because you didn't even know it existed. You didn't even know it was possible. But we don't talk about that. People don't talk. There's a whole group of people, and there's a lot of people who live like that, and it's normal for them. They're not like freaking out about it. And the majority of those people started with that being a lot of their living expenses. That's how a lot of them start. They just wanted more stuff. And so they found that having more stuff was another option. And so they went, okay, now how do I move towards that thing? I immediately thought of the car I want. I need more than 5K. That's it. See, there we go. There we go. That's where, like, you want to be like, where's the rest? Like, where is more? Because when you start asking for more, you start getting more things. That's such a good point. Good. I'm glad it resonated. An attentive queen. It would be hard for me to spend it on myself or anything that wasn't necessary. Scarcity mindset is strong, and that's okay because that's how it's for a lot of people. That is where they start. I remember one time my sister, she brought me, there was a pair of shoes. They may have been like $200, and I liked them, and I had no plans on buying them. But we were like at the mall. And I must have been looking at them for too long. And she saw that I had really liked them. And so she like went around me and bought them. And she was like, I bought you these shoes. And I was upset. And I was like, they're way too expensive. This is not necessary. I can because I had Walmart shoes, like shoes from Walmart. I was like, I could just get my shoes from Walmart. A shoe is a shoe. A shoe does the same thing shoes do. Like, why do we need to do this? And it really upset me. And I was appreciative that she did it, but I was so stuck that every time I wore the shoes, I didn't enjoy them because I was so stuck in this place of like, it's not necessary. And I didn't feel like I should have it. And I felt like it was a waste of money. And at that time I didn't feel like I was worth it. And I felt like she wasted her money, that she had worked hard for her money and she just wasted it on me. It was like a whole thing that I was going through like internally. And like, but what I realized like now, like kind of being on the other side of that, like what's the alternative? Because you recognize that there's only one place that we're all headed, right? Which is the grave. I mean, at least the bodies. I mean, we could get super spiritual and we can be like, okay, we're going other places and we are and blah, blah, blah. But that's not the part that I'm trying to get out here. Okay. We're all headed to the grave, right? None of this shit that we have is needed. None of it. Even think about housing. And I'm really going to stretch this, right? That was not the original intention. We were supposed to be living amongst the trees and in the land and amongst animals and in caves. Even housing isn't necessary. If we're really going to boil it down, right? What we need is food and some kind of shelter. Not necessarily housing. None of the shit we have we need. Like, look around you right now and what's in front of you, like right now. Are you watching this on a computer? Do you need that? Are you watching this on a phone? Do you need that? Are you watching this on a TV? Do you need that? Was any of those purchases necessary? But do they improve your quality of life? Do you find entertainment in that? Is it a resource that allows you access to different things like movies that you love, or your ability to do art if you do digital art, like if you're watching on a tablet or something like that? Everything around you are things that you don't need. Your dinner, if you're fortunate enough to eat dinner, right? Did you need all of it? Did you have Chipotle? Did you finish it? Did you really need to do that? The majority of things we have, we don't need. The majority of them, we don't need it. There is no rule that says that the only things that you have in your possession are things that you need. There is no rule. Everything that will ever be in your possession ever will always be temporary because we all die. And when we die, we leave it behind. And then people come and claw at it and try to get the best of our shit at an estate sale. Okay? But none of this we keep. So if we don't get to take any of it on our way out, is there any of it really that we actually need? So if none of it we really need, the only thing that's left is to have fun with what we have, to enjoy what we have. People call it frivolous when really people are just enjoying something. But realize people with money don't say that something is frivolous. It's only people that don't have money that say that something is frivolous. That was a frivolous purchase. That was unnecessary. When you feel like you don't have money, then that's who's saying it. But people with it don't actually say it. That's not wisdom that's carried down in every family lineage. That doesn't exist in everywhere, and that's not a mindset that the majority of people carry. What it is a very loud mindset. And then so sometimes what happens is that we mistake it for being a common practice when maybe it's not. It just may be a loud practice. But people who are like allowing themselves to enjoy their resource of money they don't think that it's frivolous. They don't think that it's frivolous. And none of the stuff we don't need any of it. I don't need this. Who the fuck needs this tea set? Tell me right now. What the fuck was I thinking when I was in TJ Maxx? Who needs this? Who needs it? Nobody. Not a goddamn person. But I saw it and I went, well, that's pretty. I like it. And when I drink from it, it makes me happy. And then it ends up improving my quality of life because I have found joy in the experience of drinking tea. I could drink tea out of a styrofoam cup, but then I wouldn't like tea. You feel what I'm trying to say? I'm just starting to examine that mindset and to question my lifelong attitude towards money and nice things. I get it. Mine was hard. I had a hard mindset with money. You know, my family, it's not like I grew up, it was a single parent household. You know, my sisters at the time, they were already grown, so I didn't grow up with them. And it was just me and my mom. And like, I remember like she didn't have any money. We didn't have any money. And we always had these moments where like we would be hungry. And so we would like go digging in couch cushions to see if we can come up with $1, because $1 at that time was enough to buy a few packs of ramen noodles. we would go to the parking lot and like of a grocery store and walk around the parking lot looking for money. Because at that time you could find money on the ground, because that was before everything went digital, and then everything money was like zeros and ones. And you could tap a phone in order to pay for something, right? And that was back when you could find $5 on the ground occasionally. And yeah, and then we used to do that for food. And so for me, coming out of that, when like I just was a kid and I just was a little bit hungry, trying to not be that way, to be like the first person in my family who made a decent living, right? Six figures, who who wasn't selling drugs, who wasn't, who did it, when there was no criminal activity. Like, I didn't know what to do. And I remember feeling so guilty, I would give it away. In the very beginning, I was always giving my money away. Always giving it away. People would say, "Oh, I need help." And so I would just give them money. People who never did shit to help me. But I couldn't hold it. And so I started making more money, but it didn't feel like I was making more money because I couldn't hold it. And I was doing things to get rid of it. Wasn't even properly hoarding it, because it wasn't even saving, because I was just letting people have it. Oh, I'm having a hard time. Here's some money. Just giving it and then not asking for it back. It just, yeah, me and money didn't go together. And it took a lot of unraveling in order to get to a place where I felt like I can hold it and I accept it and that I could have it. Because deep down, I felt like I couldn't have it. There was a lot of guilt. And when I unraveled, it was a lot of feeling guilty that my mother lived a really difficult life and I wasn't living a difficult life. Like there was a little bit of like survivor's remorse that was coming out, that was leaking out. I had some internalized stuff due to like knowing that some people in the family was jealous, resentful, had animosity towards me because I was successful. I had issues with being successful itself because my intention was never to outshine them. I just wanted to do well on my own. And so I didn't think I couldn't hold it. And so like, that's what I mean by like, if you don't regulate the nervous system, you can't hold it anyway. You may get it, but you'll give it away. You'll gamble it away. You'll lose it. You may make bad investments. You won't know how to spend it properly. So maybe you spend it on things, but you don't know what you're buying. For example, like you may buy a house, but because you don't know quality, you buy a dud. You buy a house that sinks all your money instead of a home kind of thing, because you don't know how to identify value. Like you can't hold it because your nervous system isn't set up for it. But when you can identify value, i.e. being able to like see that like, oh, some seams don't match. When you are trying to buy a home, you can see that the foundation is leaning to the side. You feel what I'm trying to say? Yeah, as much as I get it, I need my house. No way I'm going through winter cave and dealing with the bugs. Or I mean, there. I'm not telling you not to have the house. Damn, I have things to accept. We all have things to accept. It's all right. Yeah, I just stopped giving money easily because it felt like communicating to money that I didn't want her. Exactly. That you didn't want her. Or that was the purpose of her that you had for her anyway. That she comes and then because she came to you and you were a steward of it, that means an opportunity can conveniently line itself up for you to then give it away. I used to just give money away too to people older and more established than me during my 20s. I had a bad public job, but was good at saving. I got people to stop asking by using it for myself. Yeah, and isn't that like a transition to like when you switch to using it for yourself? Oh God, when I made that switch, people were pissed. Oh God, I started a number of feuds. And effectively what I did was just cut them off cold turkey. Just cold turkey. And they did not like that shit. And then I was like, oh shit, did I do something wrong? Like maybe I did something wrong. And I thought I did something wrong for a minute too. So like, yeah, it's a lot, you know, but if you're trying to bring things in, you got to hold it. You got to be able to hold it, what it is that you're doing, you know, like if you want a new venture, if you want a new business, you got to hold it. And that just means not cracking under pressure, because there's going to be pressure, and the pressure is the newness. It's not even that there's pressure in things because it's hard. It's that it's new and you're like, "Oh my God, am I going to do it right?" Or sometimes you're like, "Oh my God, maybe this will work. Maybe this will be successful." And there's pressure in that. What are people going to think? There's pressure in that. There's pressure in everything because it's new. And you just have to be in your body enough to hold it. Be embodied enough to hold it. Meaning just be sure of yourself enough to know that you got your own back, even if you fuck it up. That's it. Just be sure of yourself to know that you got your own back. That's all you need to be sure of. And then that makes you able to hold it. Whatever happens, I can do it. If it's about money, if I made it once, I can make it again. Because if I made it once, that means I got the skill to do it again. It's very rare that you see rich people lose all their money and then they don't become rich again at some point. You don't see rich people lose all their money and then they stay broke. Isn't that something you see? Money likes people with it, and it will come back. That's just how the energy works, right? And so whatever you have is like whatever you'll get. And then make like agreements with yourself, like choose a number and say, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get there. And then I'm not going to make less than that. When I chose my number, I had a number in my mind of how much money I wanted to make. And I chose it when I was 16 years old. In retrospect, I wish I aimed higher because no one at 16, when I was 16, explained to me how inflation worked. But because if I understood, I would have aimed a lot higher, and I would have aimed a lot higher earlier. But I had a number in mind when I was 16, and I knew at 16 years old that I was going to make six figures before I was 30. And that was unwavering. And at 16, you don't know how the fuck you're going to do that. Well, 16-year-olds now, maybe they do, because society has changed. And with social media, you can start social media and start making money and things like that. But at that time, that wasn't that no 16-year-old knew how they were going to pull it off. But I had a number and I had an agreement, and it was what it was. And I was heavily delusional about it. And I was very aware of when I turned 28. And I was very aware of when I turned 29, because I was like, bitch, where is it? And then when I was 29 and a half, I hit it. And what I ended up doing in retrospect, because I was not aware of it at this time, but because I had made that energetic agreement, I ended up doing things to make it difficult for me to ever fall below that number. So like where I am now, like in my life, like, okay, the economy sucks. You could lose a job. Like I could lose a job, right? But while I'm actively employed, there's a number that I will actually never make it below. I'll never make below that amount, right? Like $100,000, if someone was like, we got a job for you, or we're going to offer you $100,000, that would be insulting to me. I'd be like, are you kidding me? With the amount that I've accomplished in my career, that's what you're offering me? It would be so insulting that I would walk away. You can set agreements in your life that you're like, that you can't go below, and you just create a container that makes it hard to dip below it, right? Some people some people are really good entrepreneurs, and they just do it by building businesses or building other streams of income. You see that a lot. And it may take a minute to get things up and moving, but like building other streams where you can't dip below, or it's difficult to dip below. You want to make it so hard for the universe to dip below it that it damn near becomes impossible, kind of thing. Like, make it impossible to happen. When I was 16, I was so delusional. You couldn't tell me shit. I was like, this is the number. And I'm not making less than that, which was bold for a young Black girl, honestly, in society, to assume that she could do that. It was very bold, but then I lined everything up. It even affected the men that I chose to date. It affected, and by the way, I never was like, he needs to be rich. I never had that. I had a thing for a little bit before I made like six figures. I had a thing where I was like, he needs to make six figures. And then when I realized I made six figures, when I hit that point, I was like, well, what do I need with his money? It doesn't matter. And so then that rule went out the window for a little bit. But it affected that. It affected who I hung around. It affected with friends I had in college. It affected circles that I ended up with and a lot of times on accident. It affected like rooms and who I, because of that one decision. And my life energetically set itself on its path where it had to mirror it back because that was the only option. I didn't give it any other options. It wasn't like, oh, I want this, but this would be okay too there was no other option. I gave reality one option. So reality could only mirror back one thing. You feel what I'm trying to say? I think a lot of it, when it comes to anything that you want, is choosing what you want. And then if it's something that you can do, just doing it. That's it, which is what embodying means, just doing the damn thing. If it's something that you can do, then do it. And if it's something that you feel like needs to come to you, then you just work on your worthiness issues around it. Where is that starting point where you first thought you couldn't have it? And then work your way back and unravel it. And then if you feel like it's too hard to unravel, just grant yourself permission, because what you're looking for is permission. What you're looking for is some sort of outside validation that says it's okay to do this thing, or it's okay to pursue this thing, or it's okay to want this thing. You could collapse time by just being the one to grant yourself the permission to do it yourself, as opposed to waiting for somebody else to grant it. Because most likely the people that you're waiting for anyway don't have vision, because they don't have access to their own creativity. So if you're waiting for validation from people who don't even have vision themselves, then you're never going to get it. You're never going to get the permission. If you want the permission now to do the thing, then you got to do it yourself. You got to grant yourself permission yourself to do the thing, be the thing, or have the thing. So anyway, I've been on here long enough. I've yapped enough. I'm going to head out. I have missed you guys. I've missed you guys so much. Sorry for the hiatus. But it's all good. Anyway, I'm going to love and I'm going to leave you. Oh, hold on. You just slid right on in at the end of time. Can I be a self-taught tarot reader? Yes. Most people are self-taught. You're more than welcome. And I'm also glad that you can join. Bye, guys.